That's a very good question. So the brother is asking, if you're going on a journey where the time zone changes, how do you maintain your salat? Okay, so how do you maintain your prayers or anything else like fasting, for example? And this is an example why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed this as you know, a time where you don't have to fast if you're traveling, because it could be very problematic and it can become very difficult upon the traveler as well. So as for fasting, you don't have to fast if you're traveling, right? If you're on a journey. And a journey meaning not going from like here to downtown Toronto, like an actual journey, right? Outside of the city. As for prayer, now prayer, for some people it's very tricky. For me it's very easy. I don't know why. I guess because I travel a lot, so it's become normal. But subhanAllah, when you travel, try to maintain your prayers. If you're going to travel by road, it's very easy, right? Because you're still going to pray according to, the timing is not going to be much different, because as you're driving, you can't escape the time zone that quickly, right? So you're pretty much going to pray at the same time of the locality that you're in. As for people that are traveling by plane, it depends on if you're going east or you're going west. So if you're going east, you're going to be praying very rapidly, because the sun is coming against you. The sun is going this way and you're going that way. So that, the sun rises and you left home and you prayed Fajr already an hour into your flight, it's time for Dhuhr. And then, 2 or 3 hours later, it's time, less than that, about 2 hours later, it's time for Asr and Maghrib and Isha. It goes very quickly. In fact, I've prayed an entire day's worth of prayer in one plane. I've prayed up to 10 prayers once in one plane, right? Because of the distance, the length of the flight, and the direction that you're going in. So, what I do is, there's two different opinions, there's two different ways that the scholars go about this. The first being that you pray according to the time that you're in, the time zone you're in. So for example, you look out your window, and this is where it's important for us to learn how to understand the time of prayer by simply looking at the sun and the positioning of the sun in the sky. So you look out your window, you can see that it was pitch dark. You boarded the plane at 2 o'clock in the morning, it was pitch dark. And all of a sudden you're seeing the sky is starting to change from dark to like a deep blue. You know that it's almost time for Fajr. For Fajr, you have to be very careful, because the time for Fajr is quick, very quick, especially if you're flying east. If you're flying west, you might have 3 or 4 hours to pray Fajr. It can take that long sometimes for the time of Fajr to go out. So subhanAllah, if you're flying east, you have to be very careful. You look at the sun, and you make sure that you pray before the sun rises, right? Before it actually crosses the horizon. So it's good to be able to look out the window in that aspect. Now, you do the same thing for Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha, right? Looking at the position of the sun in the sky. Another method is to use your phone in advance and check the timings of your flight, where you're going to be, where that flight is going to go, because now you have like flight trackers and flight radar where you can actually track the flight before you get onto it, right? So you can tell the timings that you have to pray, and then you can just set an alarm for you. I never do any of that. I just look out the window when I can see, okay, it's time for Dhuhr. Yes, it's time for Dhuhr, right? And then you combine, pray Dhuhr and Asr together, right? And then pray Maghrib and Isha together, right? So you combine your prayers. It makes it a lot easier, especially if you're inside of an airplane. As a disclaimer, there was a brother after Jum'ah who was a pilot for, I think he said, like 40 years. He was a pilot. He says, it's very dangerous in some areas to stand inside of the plane, whether you're praying or going to the bathroom, so you have to be careful as well. And he said, yes, I know, right? So, today I touched upon the United States, traveling to the United States. And it's actually a law in the United States that you're not allowed to stand and gather at the areas in the airplane where the bathrooms are. So technically, it's against the law to even pray your prayer at the bathroom, at the area where the bathrooms are. So by law in the United States, any flight going in or going out of the United States or flying over and through the United States, you're not allowed to stand near the bathroom area during the flight, unless you're going to use the bathroom and then you have to go back to your seat, right? So it becomes very problematic. What does a person do? They just pray in their seat, right? Or if you ask the cabin crew and you tell them, and they will I have only once in my life and it was actually an airline that was flying out of a Muslim country, like their national carrier. Allah knows best, right? I've only once in all the years that I've traveled been told, sir, it's better to sit in your seat and pray when there's no turbulence or anything. So if you ask the cabin crew member, say, I need only 2 minutes. Tell them very quickly. You know what? When you're praying in the plane, you're not reciting Surah Al-Baqarah, right? You need to quickly get out of that area. You're going to block the aisle as well. So you tell them, I need a place to pray. I will take only 2 minutes. Is it okay if I pray in this corner or that corner? Usually, go to the very back of the plane. On the right side or the left side, you'll find a place to pray, depending on the aircraft, right? I know the different aircrafts because I fly a lot. If you can't find a place to pray in the back, in the middle of the plane near the emergency exits, but you will have to ask permission from those 3 passengers that are sitting there, do you mind not stretching your legs out so I can pray here very quickly? But many Muslims don't like that. Why? Because you have to ask the people, as well as you will have everyone in your cabin staring at you while you're praying. Right? So it's always nice to go to the back so that you're not going to, make people feel a little bit scared on their flights, inshallah. The other option, or the other opinion, rather than praying according to the time that you're in, is to follow the time of the city you came from. So, okay, yeah, the city I came from, it's time for Salat, so I'm going to pray. I don't like to go to this opinion. Why? Because, especially when you're on long flights, it's very confusing. Becomes very confusing. At least for me it does. When you're flying west, you'll end up praying a lot more. When you're flying east, you'll be praying less. Whereas if you're following the time of the area you're in, like I can fly from Toronto to Hong Kong and never have to pray once on the flight. And it's like a 14-hour flight. But you'll fly from Hong Kong to Toronto, coming this way, and you'll pray 8 or 9 times on that flight. So it depends. And that's where it's always good before your journey to ask someone, inshallah.
If you're flying north or south?
North or south is actually very easy, because you're still within the same time zone. So the prayers are very similar. If you're in Toronto, and you're going to be flying down to, let's say Trinidad, it's very similar, the time zone. I think it is the same time zone, right? So your timing of prayer would not change much. It might change slightly because of the curvature of the earth, but it wouldn't change that much.
Now how about the direction to the Qibla?
The direction of the Qibla. So to be able to find the direction of the Qibla in airplanes is very easy. Almost every single airline, Muslim or not, or originating from a Muslim country or not, will always show you the direction of Qibla on the plane. As the maps rotate, they will show you the direction of the Qibla. Very interesting. There's only a few airlines that I've traveled on that don't show you the direction of the Qibla. Yeah. So, and then the other thing is, you ask a cabin crew member, and if they don't know, they will go and ask the pilot. It's so common. Muslims travel so much nowadays, they get these questions every single day. So no one should ever feel shy when you're traveling to ask these questions.